There are a lot of editing programs out there, but PIXLR is one of my favorites. So that's what we're going to be using for the majority of our classroom editing techniques. When you get to PIXLR.com, there are a few options, PIXLR X and PIXLR E, and we are always going to be using PIXLR E. So when you are in PIXLR E, the first thing that you'll do is open up an image, and you usually have an option to choose from your Google Drive or to choose from your downloads. And I just want you to explore PIXLR a bit today, but I want to point out a few tools that are the most used. So cropping. The power of cropping is pretty important, knowing how to get rid of things that maybe are not necessary in your photo to have a better focal point, and that is this crop tool. And you can just move the crop tool around and it crops your photo. Okay, either Control Z or Edit Undo will get you back to your original. The second most used would be under Adjustments. And then you have brightness and contrast. So if your photo is very dark, you might want to adjust the brightness. And typically when you play around with brightness, you're using both the brightness and contrast toggles to help you. Again, you can either click apply to keep it or cancel. A lot of times you can easily change your color photo into black and white under adjustments as well. So adjustments, auto black and white. Okay, again, either Control Z or Edit Undo. There are a lot of tools on here that you are going to be learning throughout the semester, but those are a couple of the go-tos. And you can also just play around and explore. If you look under adjustments, you will see things like temperature and tint. That's going to play with the coloring of your photo. You can also explore hue and saturation. So if you just explore, you will see different things that can be done. Filters are fun. Just make sure that when you are using filters that you are still enhancing your image and not just adding too much clutter. So if you just play around with Effect Library, these are like filters that you could add to your photos. There's a lot of different ones. Again, apply or cancel. Details are things like motion blur. Glitches are fun to play with. You can just really explore a lot of stuff here. If you were to, let's say I want to choose this filter. If you were to apply something and you are ready to save your photo, you are going to click File and Save. Make sure that you have a JPEG. I do recommend that you bump your quality all the way up. If it says PNG, that's fine too, but most of the time you just need JPEGs. PNGs are larger files. And when you click Save As, you are going to be asked to rename your photo. This is really important. So I'm just going to say Vintage Filter Toys. When you rename your files, make sure that you don't get rid of the file extension. For example, yours is probably going to say .jpg. That's a JPEG file. If you try to write or type your title after .jpg, it ruins the file extension. And sometimes people just erase .jpg and retitle it Vintage Filter Toys or whatever, and then you can't open it. So always leave your file extension, whether it's .jpg or .png, alone. And then when you click Save, it should show up for you in your downloads. And then that is the file that you would attach and turn in. There's another thing on PIXLR, so I'm going to go back to the home page, and that is a template. If you click Template, and if you scroll all the way to the right, you will see Simple Collage. So when you are experimenting with your editing, you are going to be asked to turn in a collage of at least 3 edits. If you scroll down, you can see more options. So if I knew that I had to edit one photo 3 ways, this might be a good template for me to use. I could then add my original. It's one photo. I could then add my edit, and then I would have another option to add a third edit. Okay, so when you are asked to create a collage to showcase what you've learned in PIXLR, that is an easy way to do it. Again, file save when you are done.